Hello and welcome back. In a series of videos, I've shown you how to build checkpoint firewalls, the management server, the gateway, and the smart console. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a security policy. As you can see, from the left, you have gateways and services. And in this case, we have only one gateway or one firewall. And the management server, the one we are logged on, is here. The application we are using is the smart console. It gives you the ability to build security objects, security rule base, and a lot of other things. You can automate the security build configurations from here as well. And it allows you to push policies to different gateways across multiple sites. So if we check, we can see from the previous recordings, we left this rule, which is the cleanup rule to allow everything. This is not the best practice, of course, and we were just building the lab. But for this time, we're going to build security rule base. To do that, we need objects. Some of them are networks, some are hosts, some are groups. And in this table, you can see I have 3 networks. And from the first installation, we've shown you a diagram that shows internal network, DMZ network, and the external or the internet-facing subnet. Those objects, I'm going to create them in the smart console. And also there are host objects or machines that we need to assign IP addresses and then configure them in the security objects database. Then we're going to use that in the security rule base. There are some organization you can do in the security rule base which allows you to manage your rule base very efficiently, and these are called sections. So if you have certain groups of rules that go together, you group them together and then you create a section title, so it would be easy for you to maneuver between different rules in your configurations. So here you see the top one, we put risk services, and from anywhere to any destination using example like UDP high ports and other things you feel they are not safe to use them in your network or you don't need them, then you rather block them on the top. So if something is blocked at the top of the rule, then it saves the CPU and memory usage of your firewall. And it's because when you are reading rule base, it reads from the top bottom. So if your rule is at the bottom, then there will be a processing all the way from top to the bottom, and that wastes resources. So we put this one at the top. Anything you don't like or you don't want to be used in your network, then you put them there and you drop them. And then we put another section which says firewalls management. We allow the NetSec group or network security group to access the firewalls using these ports. We allow that. Anything else coming from anywhere else going to the firewalls, the same group, it can be 1 or 2 or number of firewalls, and trying to use any service, then we drop. So the top rule allows whatever service that's accepted. And if the communication tries to go to the firewalls using anything different from this rule will block. So this rule protects your firewalls. Then we have another section that shows the outbound internal LAN going to any services across the internet or DMZ or anywhere else, or using any service, we accept that. And there are some other things we need to configure, like logging or tracking the rule, what access has happened, what drop has happened, and we will add those and where to install the security policy. Here we have one gateway, and that single gateway, we need it to be the target for the installation. But if you have multiple firewalls and then you have multiple security rules or security different policies, then you would create different installation targets. So I'm not showing those in this table, just the main things. And inbound, you're allowing some services from your company or organization to be accessed by the public from the internet, and certain services, for example. So HTTPS, HTTP is not secure, but just to show as an example, because I don't have HTTPS and I only have web server using no certificate. So I will show you how to access that. Then we have a cleanup rule, and anything that's not accepted or allowed from the top, whatever is dropped is already dropped, but anything that's not accepted from the above rules, this rule will take care of it and drop it. So we say deny all, and it's an explicit rule that you have to configure as a best practice. So let's go and now check what we can do in terms of security objects. we have hosts, and one of them is my PC, the one I'm using, and I call it management PC. There's a web server. It's a simple Linux machine that I'm trying to run in there. There is also a SOC admin PC, which you can dedicate for that services, Windows machine, whatever you like. So let's create the hosts and copy those names. Okay, so I'll put this window away and then come to the security rule base. Let's start by creating objects. You have so many places you can create objects, new host, new network. You can create objects from here, new object. You can create from the right hand side. So if you expand that, you can have new, and then you can create new objects, new hosts. So if you click on the drop down, there are so many ways you can create. Then you can create APIs to automate the, if you have large configurations you have to deal with, then this is manual way, just to show you where things are. But in large environments, you would prefer to use automation and create hosts, or maybe upload files that way. So let's create the first object, and the first object here is a host, and the names was, the first one is SOC admin, SOC admin. So this is the name. You can put some description, SOC management PC, a management PC if you like, whatever you call it. And then the IP we selected was 10.1.1.150. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. Okay, it is 255.255.255.0. And if we need NAT, this small firewall deployment, everything's hiding behind the firewall and external IP address. But when we need, we can actually add that. And I will come back to this to show you what NAT is. But for now, we don't need that. So I deselect and unselect that. We only configure the general configuration, no other things. So save that. The second object I'm creating is another host, and I call this one management PC, mgmt underscore PC, and that's it, main PC or laptop. That's my laptop, and the IP is 192.168. I'm coming from a different network. Okay, so 255.255.255.0, and that's my management PC, and I'm not doing any netting or anything to it, so just save it. To the third one, which is a web server, web underscore server, and this is actually a simple Linux machine, and let's not, and 10.1.1.10 we give it, and 255, no, this is the DMZ subnet, so 10.2.2. Let's give it 200, or just to remember, stick on 150 everything, and 255.255.0. then we save. We created two objects, and let's continue with the networks now. So if you see, this is how you create the objects and their IP addresses, and I'm going to publish that change now. So if I bring this one down, we can publish the change, or we can just continue actually with the object. We haven't completed the hosts, so let's create the hosts, the networks. Here we have a number of networks, and inside, let's copy the name actually, that way it's much quicker. Let's copy that and put this one away, and this is the name we want to use. And outside network, and do we have to create, I don't need actually that network to create it, 192.168.1.0 and 255.255.255.0, and we're not doing anything to it, so we save that object, that network. Then we create another network and we call it, let's copy that also from the document, we save it here, and then you add the descriptions. So 10.1.1.0, and it is 255.255.255.0. that's again a net, and then the DMZ, which is 10.2.2.0, and the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0, now we created that subnet as well. So if we now look at the changes we have done, publish, we can say created security objects. Okay, and then publish. Okay, that's now published. I want to show you in the logs. If you go to a new tab, and then if you check audits or reports, if you see here audit logs, the audit logs, any change we have done will appear here. So if you see create object network, the things we have done, and then you've added some comments. So for example, let's say that publish, what does it say? Created security object. So in auditing later, it helps if you add the reason and why you did that. So you might have a ticketing system and you have a change control, you have a change number, and then you update that change number here, so people follow what actually an admin has done for in terms of auditing. So now we have security objects that went in. We have our security policy that's not built yet, but we have the objects that we're going to use in here. So we will stop here and record another video to cover the security policy configurations. Thank you for your time.